back to the next part of the D3 Chevy project. I probably don't need to start here where I left off on the other video of removing paint, but I just find it so satisfying to watch time lapse of paint removal. I don't know if you saw in that last clip, I switched from a sharpened putty knife to a razor blade scraper, and man, that really worked. You could tell all the areas where I didn't have paint adhered because it was just falling off in sheets, things like this. The funniest is when this would happen. Just the sheet of the clear coat with the metal flake. And I was thinking back, trying to wonder why wasn't that adhered? Because there was still flake left when this would peel off. There was still a layer. And then I remembered that I got a certain amount of clear coat. I mixed up the flake in the clear coat and sprayed it, which now I know is not how you do flake, but that's all the information I could find at the time before the internet existed. And came back the next day or 2 days later, whatever, and it's like, man, that's still really rough. It doesn't look very good. So I just mixed up a bunch more and just sprayed it without doing any kind of surface prep between. So that's why it's coming off in pieces. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick, down there, I couldn't remember, I knew on one of the sides I'd done this, but they didn't used to make a patch panel for that. They do now, so I'll be getting one. Well, probably two. But at the time, I made one out of fiberglass basically, and what I did, I'll show a close-up photo right now. I put ribs basically of thin layers of sheet metal and then layered it in fiberglass mat. So I don't know, didn't work out too bad. Could have done a lot worse. It's either the dumbest thing ever or completely genius depending how you look at it, but again, considering I was just a college kid playing in my parents' driveway. I'm gonna cut away from here. In the time it took me to edit and post the last video, I went from it's starting to warm up, I can probably work on the car soon, to now it's too hot, it's 90-something degrees out. You can't win in Iowa, so I'm gonna call this it. We'll bring you back in the next clip, and who knows what I'll be doing. We're about to find out. Okay, welcome back. I am not going to appear on camera right now because I am super filthy. For an example, here's my hand. Picture that on my face. So I've got the bulk of the paint off the body. And I just wanted to show what I encountered. Now remember, the body work had been started when I got this. It's been 20 years, so I can't remember what was done before I got it and what I did, but it's not great. This is a patch panel, and I'm gonna have to replace that because I remember when I put a fender skirt in here, this was like arching up and over. So I don't know if it was an actual patch panel or if somebody like made it, but it's not good. So I need that. I don't know what's going on here yet, but there's a lot of Bondo. I don't think I did this side, but it's not good. I mean, like here. I mean, I don't know if you can tell how deep this is, but yeah, I knew it was gonna be bad. I knew this rocker panel was bad. Just setting the weight of the body on a board totally crushed it. Coming back here, this has been replaced, I'm assuming, because again, a lot of filler. I mean, a lot. Kind of unreal how much body filler is in some of these areas. Coming around here, I knew this was gonna be bad. This is always bad on these cars. And I had done some patching in. You can see right here, this is some of my 1998 Mark skills. But that whole piece is gonna have to be replaced. Luckily, they sell those now. And it carries into here, all through here. Totally gone. And they also sell this piece. I think it comes back like this far. Okay, that panel's been replaced. I don't think that was me. This one, I was thinking about it. I think I did that. I think I put this one in. And then here was where I had my weird little fiberglass repair. And then this is a new rocker. I'll probably replace this rocker. If you've ever priced body panels, you'll see there's two. There's one where it's like a really nice stamped out factory correct one, and there's one that's just fabricated. It's just like bent on a brake. And this was the cheapo one. It came with the car. I put it on. It may have been all that was available at the time, but most of this is gonna go. And the wheel arch, I knew I had a big crunch here. I don't think the rust here is too bad, so I might be able to save this. I might be able to pull this out with a stud welder. The floor is shot, we knew that. I'm getting a new floor pan. I got a patch here, got a patch here, got all kinds of patches over there. I got rust holes there, got rust holes there, got rust holes there. Started getting this roof stripped. It's been a little bit harder than the body panels because with the really thick metal flake paint job, I was able to scrape most of it off with a razor blade down to the primer, and then I just had to sand off the primer. The roof, it's not like that. This is stuck down pretty well. It's just regular base clear. So I'm basically having to sand it off. And you can see all the layers underneath, and I got a dent repair here. I was trying to remember, and I think when I was still living at my parents' house, I was parking this in the street, you know, just like a suburban residential street, and came out to it one morning, and somebody had smashed the roof with something and dented it, also smashed the dummy light I had up here and dented that, and then threw a dead rabbit on the roof. So that was annoying and gross, but I think that's what this Bondo was from. I fixed that dent and painted the roof. I hadn't even painted the car yet, so it wasn't that big a deal. I was just mostly sad about the poor rabbit. I hope it died of natural causes. Started stripping paint up here. No surprises here. I think all this is gonna be fine. Down here, I know this is not gonna be fine. This is Iowa for you. This used to be here. So ideally, I'd like to find a parts car where that was good and cut off that whole section. That might not happen. I might just end up fabbing that all. But at least now I know what body panels I'm gonna have to order. And it's essentially what I thought. Damn near everything they sell. So I'm gonna cut this off here, call it a day. Probably when we get back in the next clip, I'll probably be back on the frame. I'm about ready to start building the rear bridge. So we'll see you in the next clip. Hey everyone, I'm back. It's been several weeks since that last clip. Unfortunately, I suffered a pinched nerve in my neck, which laid me out for 2-3 weeks without being able to really do much of anything, but I'm starting to get back to it now, and I just wanted to give you an update of some of the things I've been doing, slowly chipping away at while I was injured. I'll start running the time lapse now of my little milling machine, cutting out some plastic parts. So what these are is kind of a weird idea I came up with. I mean, I guess I don't know if I'm the first person to come up with it, but I've never seen anybody do it. So normally what people do is when the cylinders come through a bridge at the back of the lowrider, A lot of times they just cut a hole with a torch or with a plasma cutter, slap the cylinder through, done. I never liked that because it just kind of scrapes up and down. If you have any kind of coating on the cylinder, it scrapes it off like a chrome or a paint. It just sounds awful. It gets like squeaky and grindy, and I don't know, it's tacky. So I made those little pieces, and here they are. And these are going to be the sliders that the cylinders move in and out of. And these are just some kind of cheap plastic I had laying around. I'm gonna try them out. If it doesn't work, I have the program. I can run it on any kind of plastic I want. So I can try Delrin, nylon, UHMW, whatever I want. So now how do these attach to the bridge? There's a couple different designs of bridges that are the most common. One is a piece of channel iron, and then they'll put 2 holes with lengths of round tubing, plates on top, cylinders go in the tubing. The other common one is just a box out of square tubing with 2 pieces of plate. I've opted for that one mostly because I'm worried if I attach C-channel directly to the step notches, I'm gonna have interference issues with my 4-link mounts. I also didn't like the idea of having the springs completely hidden. I'd kind of like to be able to see the springs so I can see if one of them breaks or something like that. So I'm going with the option with the square tubing. Here's a picture of the metal I bought the other day. Metal is ridiculously expensive right now. That was a $106 pile of metal, which is crazy. I should have bought this stuff 5 years ago when I got back on this project. So the plates for the top, 2 of these is just 8-inch square, 1/4-inch thick plate, and that is what these are going to go into. Now I've cheated, I've already done one. Here's the finished product, and that goes right in there. Now I say finished product, obviously I haven't drilled and tapped the holes for this yet. I think I'm gonna wait until I weld it on first, just in case there's any distortions. I don't want to end up with my holes not lined up, so I'll probably just wait till it's in the car because it's just drilling 6 holes and running a tap through it. That's no easier really in here than it is on the car. I'm going to show how I did this, and I think that's probably all I'm going to get done today. So here we go, to the lathe. All right, so step 1 of making these falls under the category of it's only stupid if it doesn't work. I'm using a 1 3/4-inch hole saw. I need to make a 2-inch hole. This is the closest I have. Plus, I don't want to go exactly 2-inch in case it gets off center, then my hole's too big. So I'm just doing with this and then cleaning it up with a boring bar. You might be thinking, there's no way an 1 1/4 or 1 3/4 hole saw is going to go through 1/4-inch plate. No, it works fine. So I'm going to do it right now. You have to go kind of slow, especially once you get past the recesses of the individual teeth, because then you have to clear the chips constantly. But it makes a nice hole. It does a good job. There's a million ways to make a hole, but since I don't have a milling machine, and my drill press is belt drive, it always locks up and the belt slips, so this is the easiest way to do it, and it worked pretty well the last time. And I've got the lathe running pretty slowly. That's another problem with my drill press. The slowest speed is twice as fast as this. All right, the pilot's through. Time to start making the big hole. There you go, 1 3/4 hole. All right, so I sped the lathe up. I engaged the cross feed, or the left-right feed, whatever you call that. I'm not a machinist, leave me alone. So now I just need to open this up. I got a little boring bar in here. This doesn't have to be super precision, it just has to give clearance for that spacer. So I just have my calipers set about the right size. That's how much needs to come off. I'm just gonna stop and check it after every couple of passes. Pretty sure I chipped my carbide there. I might have to change a different boring bar. Oh, nope. I just got it. All right, so now I need to know how far to come out for my countersink. So all I do is just put the piece in there and scribe it. All right, when you're working this close with something this big, it's always a good idea to hand spin it and make sure you're not gonna hit anything. I'm getting pretty close to the saddle down here. All right, well now I just have a threading tool, put it the right angle so I can just kind of open up that recess. So. I'm getting a real poor finish. I'm gonna cut away, sharpen my bit, and then come back and show you the finished product because you don't need to see me do this 10 more times. Okay, these are both done. This will get bolted in here. And from the back side, it's just a little bit below flush, but that way when the cylinder moves, it's gonna have a nice smooth surface to rub on, and I can easily whip these up on my CNC machine all day long, and they just cost me the raw material. These are going to be tapped 1/4 20, maybe 1/4 28. The first iteration I recessed to have cap screws, but I wanted to reduce the thickness so that it could stick through the bottom. So that was just a design choice I made. It'll probably just be hex head screws or button cap screws or something. That's where that is. I suppose the next clip I will be hopefully out at the shop welding the rear bridge. So that's where things rest. I guess I will see you in the next clip. This is where I'm going to stop this video. I've been having a problem with my welder. I never have it cranked all the way up, but since I'm doing such thick steel, it's turned up all the way and I just keep tripping breakers. So I'm going to have to do something with the electrical panel to get some more current because I'm tripping a 20 amp breaker and it's like every 30 seconds of bead it trips. So that's getting kind of old, so I got to see what I can do with that. But you get the gist of this. I'm going to finish welding up this assembly, grind the welds nice so they look smooth. Then these plates come in. Get welded on there, my little sliders go in, get bolted down. That's basically it. And I guess I won't be doing any of that on camera because the welder's acting up in this video already spans like pretty much the entire summer. So we're gonna end it here and we'll bring you back in the next video. And once this is done, I'm gonna set it on there and then take my measurements to see the supports that hold it exactly how those are gonna be designed. But you know me, I like to do things one step at a time. It seems to be easier than to try to do it all at once and forget something and then set off this cascade of sadness. So that's it for now. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.